Well, thank you very much to all of you. Good afternoon. So before I will walk you through the policy response to the digital transformation in Europe, I would like to start with a little story. So about how me and Helmut met the first time in Brussels. So it was March 2016 and I just recently joined the Commission, and it was a workshop of all relevant cloud providers with names like Oracle, IBM, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, and SAP in the room. And among them, I met Helmut. And first of all, my first question is, who the hell is Fabasoft? But in the run of the event itself, and also the following weeks and months and years, where Helmut is heavily involved in all kind of self and co-regulatory processes, he crystallized more and more as a vocal supporter of the digital single market, as a vocal supporter of security and privacy, and as a big fan of certification, as you probably also know. So therefore, I'm very happy that I can walk you through and provide you with an overview of what happened the last 3.5 years and what will still happen in the coming years. So maybe just to go back to the start, one of the 10 Commission priorities of Juncker was the digital single market. So as you all know, we have already in place the free movement of people, the free movement of goods, services and capital. But the Commission's ambition was to facilitate and create also the free movement of data and data services. Because this would bring great benefits for citizens and consumers, but also open new markets for companies and create equal playing level fields for businesses, especially SMEs, as you all work for one. As already was mentioned, the estimate of the digital single market was that it would bring, upon completion, 415 billion euros per year, create jobs, transform public services, the economy, and be also for the benefit of society and make society ready for the challenges to come. So maybe just a broad overview how the Commission structured or broke it down. So the first pillar aimed at helping to make the EU's digital world a seamless and level marketplace to buy and sell. Two examples are, for example, the e-commerce initiative, which provides for rules to make cross-border e-commerce easier, or the geo-blocking initiative, which addresses practices denying access in other countries. Besides that, designing rules which match the pace of technology and support infrastructure development is also a crucial element to the digital single market strategy. Especially in the area of telecoms, the ambition is to ensure that everyone will have the best possible internet connection and also to promote and facilitate the rollout of 5G. But also, as you see, trust and security are core elements to it. So as you see, there's the e-privacy, which is the new regulation in the pipeline, which will complement the general data protection regulation and guarantee full privacy and confidentiality of electronic communication, which would be also applicable to your apps such as WhatsApp, etc. So also to, let's say, the new ways of communicating electronically. And of course also cybersecurity. There was the cybersecurity package, which was also adopted or proposed by the Commission, is currently also being negotiated with the co-legislators, but we'll get back to this later. And the third, let's say, main pillar to the digital market strategy is ensuring that Europe's economy and industry employment take full advantage of what digitization offers. So maybe also how this strategy was implemented. On the one hand, you have legislative actions, on the other hand, non-legislative actions. I don't want to bore you too much, but I will pick out a few of them. For example, the EU e-government action plan, which aims at promoting effective e-government, which will also mean savings for governments, but also for businesses, so lowering the administrative burden in doing what you have to do as a business, register business, do tax invoices, or tax declaration, etc. But also it's a means to increase transparency and also increase the participation of citizens in a political life. Besides that, there's also the European Open Science Cloud, which shall give Europe a global lead in data infrastructures and reap the full benefits of data-driven science. And of course also the Digitizing European Industry initiative, which foresees strategic partnerships and networks between industry but also public players in order to promote and facilitate the deployment of new technologies, also old technologies such as cloud, but also artificial intelligence, etc. So maybe a short overview of what has been so far. So there have been 30 legislative proposals and 60 proposals in total. And just to name some of them, some of the achievements you probably also experienced yourself. There was the end of roaming charges as of the 15th of June 2017. So probably you felt the impact yourself when going abroad or on holidays, that the telephone bill was much lower. Then the portability of content, which will allow, as of early 2018, Europeans to travel with the films, the music, the video games, and the e-books they have subscribed to at home, so in their home country. Furthermore, there will be the release of the 700 megahertz band for the development of 5G and new online services. So this is also a prerequisite for modern connectivity and a digital single market. Then the Marrakesh Treaty Implementing Acts facilitate access to published works for persons who are blind, visually impaired, or otherwise print disabled. Then, of course, there is also the Wi-Fi for EU initiative, which will foresee that there will be a free public Wi-Fi hotspot set up in local communities across the EU. And also the end of unjustified geo-blocking, so end discrimination and boost e-commerce to the benefits of consumers and businesses. So maybe to get back to connectivity, which is at the core of a digital economy and society, there is a need to increase speed, quality, and reliability of the infrastructure. And therefore, there's a joint EU action and investment are planned. There's 3 strategic connectivity objectives for 2025, which is first, access to gigabit connectivity for all main socio-economic drivers. Then access to connectivity with a download speed of at least 100 megabytes per second for all European households. And all urban areas and major roads and railways with an uninterrupted 5G coverage and 5G commercially available in at least one major city in each EU member state by 2020. 3 instruments will facilitate reaching these objectives, which is the new telecoms code, which is also currently being negotiated, which will foster investment, then better spectrum coordination, stronger consumer protection, then as well Wi-Fi for you, and an EU action plan for 5G. So really to catch up with the rest of the world and get 5G also in Europe, running everywhere. So how to best manage the digital transformation of our economy and society? And there are some challenges and opportunities, and they reflect in policy considerations, which is, of course, the digital skills. Very important, as we still have in some countries high unemployment rates. On the other hand, there's a high demand for skilled labor. So there's a big need to promote and facilitate education, especially, and also vocational training when it comes to digital skills. of course, boost the digitization of industry and facilitate specifically for SMEs the possibility to test digital innovation. One good place to do so is in the cloud. Then, of course, modernized public services. Maybe in Austria, you're one of the, or we are, because I'm also half Austrian, one of the countries which is most advanced in this field. But other member states lag behind drastically. So we really need to promote this further and try to get at the same high level in all over Europe. Then, of course, we need to work together to facilitate valuable digital innovations, such as in the digital health and care sector, and also with regards to connected and automated mobility. And of course, investment is key for the digital future of Europe. But we'll get back to this a bit at the later slide. So maybe some recent initiatives which were proposed by the Commission and are still being negotiated by the co-legislators. We have on the one hand the regulation on promoting fairness and transparency for business users of online intermediation services. So it will establish light touch, transparency and redress obligation for all types of online platforms. And also a new observatory will be set up to monitor opportunities and challenges for the Union in the online platform economy. Then, of course, data is the lifeblood of the digital economy. So data and data flows feed technological innovation. The data economy is estimated to boost the GDP of all Europe by 4% by 2020, and the cloud is at its heart. So therefore, the Commission also proposed a set of measures to build a data-based economy in the EU. So part of it is opening up first public sector data, but also scientific data to drive innovation and extract value from this data, but also recommendation on access to and and access to and guidance on private sector data sharing was issued. So the goal is really that the silos are opened and also private and industry players share the data in order to extract the most possible value from it. So maybe here some two other recent communications. So a communication on artificial intelligence and robotics, which aims at boosting the EU's technological industrial capacity and catch up with China and also the US. Prepare for the socio-economic changes which will come with the rollout of artificial intelligence and robotics, and also ensure an appropriate ethical and legal framework. Then, of course, also communication on e-health, which aims at facilitating access to electronic health records and use of e-prescriptions. Also facilitate the prevention of diseases and facilitate personalized healthcare. And of course also facilitate feedback and interaction between patients and healthcare providers. And also communication on the significant market power guidelines. So this is specifically for competition authorities. So maybe just briefly, this is the free flow of non-personal data. I don't know if you heard about it, but this is what I was working on the last 2 years, and probably as a cloud provider, Fabasoft followed this legislative development as well. So it will provide a legal certainty on the free flow of data in Europe. It will facilitate trust for public authorities and create a more competitive EU cloud market. So as we will see, together with the GDPR, and this is something a lot of people don't know, the GDPR aims at protecting personal information, but does so in order to enable the free movement of personal data in Europe. So, however, the GDPR did not touch non-personal data. So together with the free flow of non-personal data proposal, there will be a single EU data space where all data can flow freely in Europe. And also in the context of this work, of this regulation, we address the problem of vendor lock-in. Currently, the industry is developing a code of conduct which will facilitate the switching of providers and the porting of data. However, another essential element and enabler for free movement of data is security, in particular cloud security. So as you see, 6 million devices will be connected to the internet by 2020 in the EU through IoT in particular, and the cloud is at the core. So the Commission proposed the EU Cybersecurity Act, which foresees the 4 European security certification schemes. And Helmut, as one of the co-chairs to a self-regulatory working group, is just exploring, together with a pool of experts, whether a European cloud security certification scheme would be possible. Because such a scheme would not only facilitate the free movement of all data, but also promote cloud uptake, and would be critical to the scale-up of European cloud service providers such as Fabasoft. And of course, security is also a critical trust-building issue for risk owners and regulators, and is also a prerequisite for privacy and data protection. So, how we best manage the digital transformation of our economy and society? Well, we need a strong manufacturing base and a fast-growing startup ecosystem. And we need to promote and drive the digitization of the European service sector, in particular health care, energy, transport, and finance. What is the Commission proposing as a next step? Well, first, looking at the future, the Commission just recently proposed a Digital Europe program, which shall reinforce digital capacities and ensure their best use, and also increase European competitiveness on a global scale. So it foresees investments of 9.2 billion in total from 2021 to 2027, and it will focus specifically at the areas of high-performance computing, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity and trust, advanced digital skills, digital transformation and interoperability. What does this mean specifically for you? Well, I mean, this will probably allow to speed up the uptake of digital technologies across the EU and address issues of technological accessibility. There is a need to scale up the digital innovation hubs specifically. Digital innovation hubs we must facilitate digital innovation hubs and make them accessible for both private and public sectors. Networking the hubs will ensure that regional best practices can be exported in other regions and missing expertise can be imported, ensuring an efficient innovation system. Additional help provided by the digital innovation hubs in the form of grants to support SMEs and valuable information for access to finance would be crucial to facilitate the digitization of EU businesses in all sectors. Access to private sector would be done largely on a pay-per-use basis. Further on, high-skilled technical expert jobs in areas such as AI, data analytics, and cybersecurity go unfilled at the moment. There are currently more than 350,000 EU vacancies in this field. Enterprises in all EU countries report difficulties in recruiting specialists, with 47.5% of companies experiencing difficulties in recruiting IT specialists. So you see, there the Commission is already trying to look into the future, mobilize the means, and hopefully the co-legislators, the Parliament and the Council, will support this budget plans for the future in order to drive specifically developments in the areas mentioned before. So at the end, I would like to provide you with 2 key takeaways. First of all, as you've seen and as you realize every day when you look at the media, the EU brings political challenges. But most of all, it brings opportunities for economy and society and for businesses and citizens. And I I would guess that also Fabasoft would not be that successful without a European market they can provide the services to. And the next takeaway I would like to mention is get involved and contribute in shaping Europe. I think your CEO, Helmut, is one of the best examples. Going to Brussels, supporting the ideas he thinks are the right way to go, and he is being listened. And he is also leading, for example, important self-regulatory work and shaping the future of Europe. This you can do by being more actively involved. Maybe first thing is follow us on social media or on the internet and contribute to public consultations or wherever you think are necessary. So thank you very much for your attention. And for any questions, I would be happy to discuss in the breaks.